So, Mark, did you hear about this incident that recently happened on a Southwest flight? There's a jump seat in the cockpit, and other pilots from other airlines often fly on the jump seat when they're heading home or somewhere else. They hitch a ride. This recently happened on a Southwest flight with a United pilot. She was sitting in the cockpit, noticed a mistake made by the pilots, and then instead of, following the chain of command or whatever, went right to the FAA to report them.
Yeah, this is kind of crazy. And now United pilots are getting denied boarding for something they didn't do on Southwest. Like they're saying, no, you're not flying with us. And that's kind of what you're dealing with now. And it's crazy because they need these flights to get to where, to position for their own flights that they need to pilot. So it was just a bad move. It's kind of like riding with your friend, hey, can you come pick me up? They pick you up and take you wherever you want to go. And then you call their mom and say, hey mom, they were doing a really, they were driving crazy and getting them in trouble. They're never going to take you anywhere again.
I get it, but do you want an atmosphere where all the pilots are keeping secret about the bad things that are happening? It's such a double-edged sword here. I kind of like that it's reported, but yeah, right to the FAA, I'm not surprised they're pissed.
Well, it sounded like it was a minor thing, and the main captain was like, "Oh, thanks, yeah, that's correct." It wasn't like a dangerous situation, so I think it would have been fine at that point. It was corrected, and it wasn't a big deal. Move on. A training atmosphere. I don't know, but yeah, you don't want them hiding stuff for sure, like being drunk.
So it's not every day that a bank launches a new credit card, although I don't know if what Citi has done this week is something that we could call a new credit card, but the Strata Premier has been released and all of the details have been released. It was leaked last week and Citi kind of freaked out and was telling everybody to take down the information. For a long time, they've had the Thank You Premier card, then they changed it to the Citi Premier card, and now it's going to be known as the Citi Strata Premier, and it's largely the same as the previous Premier cards, so not a ton of new stuff other than 3 points per dollar at electric charging stations, which is nice because it offers bonus points on gas already. And then 10 points per dollar on the Citi Travel Portal, which was something already going on that they extended. And then they brought back travel protections that they took away from this card, 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah, it's good to see that. So they took what was one of the better earning cards out there, the categories for grocery, gas, dining, all that stuff, 3x on all those. So it was already one of the best everyday cards you could get, especially for $95. And they made it a little bit better. I don't know why they needed to rename it. Like you spent all this money branding it, name recognition, and you're not even recreating it. You're just like packaging it up differently. And you're like, hey, we're going to launch this. And then you get pissed at everybody because you put it out on a website that they could find and they write about it. You told some blogs to take it down. It's just crazy. It's the most Citi thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, you and I have had our run-ins with Citi, but I agree with you that this card was already pretty good for spending. They raised the welcome offer on it. It was usually $60,000. Now it's $75,000. Thank you points after $4,000 in spend, so you can get an increased offer. This is definitely worth considering for that reason. Another big thing we've been noticing lately with card refreshes is increased annual fees, and they kept the annual fee $95 on this. So overall, it is an improvement to the product. Some of the stuff they had before, some of it was a temporary stuff that they're locking in. Nothing bad to say here. An increased offer, a good card.
Yeah, and I think the fact that we know it's the same card is they put in the terms that if you've signed up for a Citi Premier in the last 48 months, you can't get this card or you can't get the bonus for this card. So that just says to everybody, this is the same thing. We just changed the name a little bit, but they're going to be transitioning everybody that has a Premier card already into this, so you'll get the extra earning and everything. So, I mean, kudos to them for taking what was really a great product and making it even a little bit better. I don't know that the marketing matches up with that decision making, but I think the package that they came out with is great. The highest we've seen that card is $80K in the old form. So this is right up near there for the welcome offer. Everything's good. So kudos to Citi. You just did it in a weird way.
I'm thinking Strata is the way that they sort of brand everything together, similar to how Chase does Sapphire.
Yeah, I mean, unless they just like put Stratosphere for the next one. For the Prestige, I don't know, but the Prestige, I'd love for that to come back. It was such a cool car. I mean, it's nowhere near as good as it was when it launched, but it's been gone for so long. They haven't had that premium card on the market for applications or anything. So it'd be cool to see them bring that back in.
So let's talk Frontier for a second. One of the comments on our first episode was, why does Shawn fly Frontier? I just flew them to Denver for our meetup last weekend. Why are you laughing? People got to know why I fly Frontier, because I fly Frontier because I love them. No, because they've had these generous status matches the last few years. So depending on what status I had at the time, I had American Airlines Executive Platinum because of my Hyatt status for a long time that I matched over. But I've done 3 different status matches with Frontier over the years, and now I have Diamond status with them. That gives me all of the stuff that Frontier charges you to nickel and dime you, like seat assignments, carry-on bags, even refundability. I get all of that for free. So for instance, going to Denver, I paid $19 each way. We sat up in the front with an empty middle seat, extra legroom, free bags, and I could have canceled my flight right up until it went off. So that's why I fly Frontier Airlines. Plus, they have a lot of flights from Las Vegas, and I can tell you in the last few years, they're as good or better than the mainline competitors.
Yeah, I mean, I fly Spirit and Frontier at least once or twice a year. I prefer Spirit actually a little bit. I mean, one, the route network out of Detroit's really good. Frontier's not as good, but just like the experience, I usually get a better experience on Spirit for whatever the reason. The one thing I hate about flying either is as soon as the plane like stops and parks, everybody runs up to get off instead of waiting for their like row to come out. Drives me nuts. One time I had to like stand out there and block it so my kids could get off. That's like the big drawback. I mean, I don't have any of the bells and whistles that you do, but I'll still fly them, especially for weekend trips where you can take a backpack on. You don't have to pay fees for that. If you buy your tickets for these low-cost carriers at the airport, you save anywhere from like $10 up to like $40 per person each way. So for a family of 4, well worth driving to the airport for me, 30 minutes away, saving close to a couple $100, and that's worth it. And you're getting that $18 flight, Shawn, could have been like $12.
I know, I still can't get myself to go to the airport to buy them. They're so cheap. But for everybody who hates low-cost carriers, most of them have never flown them. All airlines have problems. But part of this whole thing is taking advantage of status matches, things that you can do to fly better. And this has been one of the best deals I've had because of where I live, being able to take flights. And these days, I emphasize direct flights. I'd much rather take a direct flight than connect on another airline. And for Las Vegas, if you're flying the traditional airlines like American, Delta, United, you're going through their hubs. Whereas Frontier, I can get just about anywhere I want to go direct and all of the great stuff. And it feels nice to be top tier status. The status match not running currently, they usually run it once or twice a year. They bring it back. We'll make sure to cover it when it comes back so you guys can hop on that as well.
How many comments are we going to get below that say nonstop, not direct, Shawn?
Non-stop flights. Yes. No stopping over in a city where I got to stay on the plane. You got me. So this next story is one that you wrote on Travel on Points, talking about an interesting outside the box thing you did with Delta credit cards and how upgrading and other offers ended up netting you 170,000 Delta SkyMiles, right?
Yeah, and it was done in the last 7 months. It was kind of like, I didn't plan this, but it's a good idea of like things you want to look out for when you have a card. This works for a lot of different cards. But I took an upgrade offer from a platinum to reserve. I thought it would help me on my status last year before Delta changed everything. That was worth 40,000 miles. So I kind of took a risk there, a gamble, knowing that there was a chance it didn't work out the way I planned. And that was the case. But hey, I got 40,000 miles. That's cool. And then I reached out for, even though I had to keep it open 12 months, I reached out for a retention offer just to see. Because, as you've written on Miles Memories tons of times, you don't need to wait for the annual fee to post ask for a retention offer anytime after 12 months, even Citi sometimes within the first 12 months. You can ask for these things and see what they give you. And they gave me a 90,000 mile retention offer after spending $4,000, which was insane. And then right after that, I got an email to add 4 authorized users, get 10,000 miles per user for $500 in spend. So these are all things you can do for any card in your wallet. I should say only upgrade if you've already had that Amex card before. Otherwise, you won't be able to get the welcome offer. But I had already had the reserve before, so this was perfect. Over $1,700 in value on the same card in 6 months. That's kind of nuts. My biggest win when I messed up and made a bad decision, but it ended up working out in my favor.
Yeah, this really kind of opens your eyes to how you can earn miles and points without the welcome offers. There's all kinds of different deals and things going on and different strategies you can take. Retention offers are huge. We talked about Citi earlier. I take advantage of their retention offers all the time. American Express has great retention offers a lot of the time as well. You do have that quirk where they make you keep the card for 12 months, so keep that in mind. But a lot to gain from these retention offers and utilizing these other authorized user bonuses and thinking outside the box as well. None of that. 170,000, $1,700 in value at least, and none of it came from a welcome offer.
People will make a joke that that's like one flight to Kansas City or, or whatever on Delta, but I mean it's kind of true, but not really true. And you can't fly international flights the way you used to in business class, at least. But there's still deals to be had with SkyMiles.
So did you hear that the Northern Lights apparently appeared over the United States? Nobody gave me the memo. I would like the universe to give me a couple days notice when this is going to happen again. I woke up on Saturday morning and all these beautiful photos from all over the place, including in Las Vegas out in the desert. And then on Saturday night, I wanted to go do it, but then the storm wasn't quite as vivid and it didn't turn out nearly as well. So yeah, in a month and a half, I missed the eclipse and now I missed the Northern Lights coming to town.
I mean, funny enough, because, we flew back from Hawaii when the eclipse happened, and we had been on a flight all night, and my kids wanted to, lay down, take a nap, or sleep a little bit. And my son's like, I'm going to go watch the solar eclipse or whatever. And he slept through it. I didn't wake him up, and he's like, Dad, that was like once in a lifetime, and you didn't wake me up, and I missed it. And I was like, no, well, I mean, it comes around every couple of years. Like, there will be another chance. But to see Northern Lights like this throughout the entire United States, that was like a once in a lifetime chance, and he didn't get to do that because we couldn't see him here. We had talked about going up to the cottage. That's outside the city. You could go stand on the beach and there's no lights protruding or anything like that, like nothing blocking it, and it would have been great. And of course, the next morning we see all these posts on Facebook from people that live in the area that look amazing, and we didn't do it because the weather just wasn't nice. I didn't realize that this was a thing. So we messed up there, and I was like, yeah, now Connor, now you actually did miss a once in a lifetime opportunity.
Thanks, Dad. Thanks so much for being there for me. Yeah, it sucks. Yeah. I had so much FOMO seeing the pictures. It looked incredible, and it's been a long time since this has happened, probably a long time again, but we hope all of you guys got to see it, and let us know in the comments if you did get to see it and how spectacular it was. So many crazy, crazy photos all over social media. And Mark, this is our second show, and we had a great response to the first show. Just wanted to thank everybody who subscribed, who liked the show, who watched the show. As we're recording this, right at about 2,000 subscribers, and that only took us 2 days to get to 1,000. Our goal was 1,000 the first week. So just want to say thank you to everybody who has watched the show so far, commented, and continues to support us in the future.
Yeah, we appreciate all of you, and we've got messages and comments and all that stuff that say they really enjoy it. So just stick with us, and I will show you the way to travel. And we appreciate you all taking the time to watch every week. And hopefully we'll have a couple extra bonus episodes coming out the first few weeks and anytime we have a big trip coming. But, stay tuned for all of that.
So don't forget to subscribe, like this video, and let's move on to give you an update on MYS Buyers Group. That's the group we talked about on the first show. They were behind on their payments, and there was an article right up on Travel on Points about it. Good news. We get to follow up with some good news that they've now paid everybody and made it whole, although all of our caveats and our warnings from before still stand.
Yeah, I'd still be a little bit nervous that it got to this point. If you do dive back in, do it in small bits and pieces and see that the payments are on schedule now and stay on schedule, because they used to be fine, perfectly fine up until the last year or so. So hopefully they get back to that. The owner seems like he's more engaged now. So, just play it safe. But it was good. All the publication and us talking about it and stuff like that really brought a light to it. And he sent out payments within a couple days to everybody. So it's really cool to see. And it just shows like the power of journalism, the power of YouTube and everything like that. Like, a lot of people think that we're just here complaining or whining about stuff, but a lot of times we're writing to the brands, or we're trying to, speak the voice of the people that read our stuff or watch our shows and give our, express that out to these people. And we're not talking to our readers so much as we are talking to the brands. And we've seen it change. It doesn't happen all the time, but there are times that it makes a difference. So it's cool to see.
And sometimes we are just whining and complaining because, that's like fun.
Missing
right?
The Northern Lights.
There you go. Poor us. So it's 2024 and the aviation industry is maturing and getting better than ever. And who knew that we needed an airline that is catering to dogs? Because apparently that's a thing. BarkBox is launching this dog airline, and this is sort of crazy. From your booking to travel day, they pump special pheromones into the plane. The dogs get special drinks of their choice, which I don't know what kind of drinks they have when they're going up and down so it doesn't mess with their ears. A ton of other stuff. These are chartered flights, and you can fly from Los Angeles to New York and some other routes. and it costs you about $6,000 for the Los Angeles to New York route for a one-way ticket for you and your dog.
Yeah, I know I might get some hate for this, but you know how I feel about dogs in public places and people bringing them into stores and restaurants and all this stuff. And I'm always like, hey, you don't know if anybody else is allergic to them and stuff. It doesn't seem right. So I've never been for it. So I actually kind of like this because it gets the dogs off the planes. But not enough people are going to be able to afford it to do it. It'll just like cater to the wealthy people that have dogs and spoil them, which is cool. I think there's a market for it, but I wish there was like something more accessible, affordable for people that could do this, because we had the companions and all that stuff, and people took advantage of that, saying it calmed them down, that they could fly and stuff, and they just did it as a way to not pay the pet fee, and it got out of hand. I think it's come back down a bit from that. I know you're a dog person. Are you booking one of these or what?
I don't have a dog currently, but I think it's cool. And I think, they socialize. So all the pets get have areas to socialize with each other before the flight. If you have the money and you're in this demographic, Los Angeles to New York, not a coincidence that they picked those cities. I think it's, yeah, good. Get them off the plane and enjoy that flight for the dog. These days, for some people, their dogs are like children to them. And it seems like with this airline, they're getting
I don't
treated far better than children.
I don't spend $6,000 on my children. So
Better than children for some people.
yeah.
On the previous show, we talked about how the Chase Sapphire Preferred, some people call it the king of travel rewards cards, has an increased offer, 75,000 ultimate rewards. A little coincidental. We see Citi with the same type of offer for their Strata card. But anyway, good news with the Chase Sapphire Preferred is if you had gotten the bonus, the 60K, the old offer in the last 30 days, they will match you up to the new one. And if you have referral links, if you have other Chase cards, you can now refer people to the 75K offer as well.
Yeah, and that one you have to be careful with on the referrals, because if you're in a like player one, player two system where you're referring your spouse or significant other or family member, something like that, getting the bonus points for the referral plus the 75K ends up being better than going in branch for the 85K. But if you're referring a friend, it depends on how good of a friend they are, I guess, if you want to earn some points for yourself. On the matching, it's kind of your mileage may vary. We've heard positive data points. Some people have struggled with it. Don't be deterred. Call back a couple times. It seems like calling in is working a little bit better than secure messaging, and you just might have to get a couple different call center reps before you get one willing to do it.
And this is a good strategy with any bank, although Chase has been the most consistent over the years with matching. Some banks absolutely won't, but it never hurts to ask, especially if you have a system with secure message where you don't have to call and wait on hold and do all of that. But it never hurts to try. If you just recently got a card, they increase the offer, to see if they're willing to do something for you. Sometimes they even officially don't match, but then they'll give you like a goodwill customer bonus or something. So never hurts to ask.
Yeah, all they can do is say no. It's not going to cost you anything. It takes a couple minutes. So always do it. I mean, there's some that will never do it, like Amex. They'll almost never match, but it's worth reaching out because you might get a sympathetic rep and they might have a little bit more power than you think, and they might give you something. So always give it a try.
And our final story is the least shocking one in the history of shocking, and this is Rio in Las Vegas. So they joined Hyatt a couple months ago, and one of the better deals, I think, for racking up Hyatt nights, I've gotten a lot of nights at $19 or $20 a night. As a World of Hyatt Globalist, you don't pay resort fees, and there's a lot of other perks, including free breakfast for up to 2 adults and 2 children. And that was at Hash House A Go-Go. And there's a pretty expensive restaurant, big portions, good food. But a lot of people were taking advantage of it. I know there was a lot of people taking to-go boxes and ordering like a week's worth of food. I don't think they were enforcing the adult/children thing. So a lot of people were getting 4 adults breakfast, racking up $130, $140 bills. We knew that this could not last with $20 rates. And now, as of this week, they have a special Globalist menu when you sit down, which is very limited compared to the full menu. But that's what you're going to get now at Rio. Not a big shocker.
Yeah, we're hoping that it goes back to somewhat normal once they open up their own restaurant, and maybe, that will be Hyatt run or type of thing where they're paying probably close to full freight on this since they don't own the restaurant. So that is like a double whammy for them. But we know this is a popular mattress running spot, and it used to be the Dirty Castle and Dirty Pyramid, as we call them on the MGM Vegas show, because those were cheap when they were partnered up with MGM. And now this is kind of the cheapest Hyatt that you can get, especially if you're a globalist. People have been doing it, booking it, checking in, but not staying there, stuff like that to earn their elite nights. And maybe they're coming in and hitting up the breakfast a little hard, and we knew this was going to happen. So at least they didn't take it away altogether. But yeah, definitely if you were planning on gorging yourself for the entire day at breakfast, it probably ain't going to happen anymore.
Yeah, you basically get omelet, bacon and eggs, waffle. They also give you a card when you're checking in that you have to show the server. So I don't know if they were checking ID before. I don't know if they figured out some way people were scamming it to allow other people to use their breakfast benefit when they weren't going over there. I, on most of my nights, didn't use my benefits, so they didn't lose as much money on me. But even charging $20 a night and then getting a $100 breakfast, that isn't sustainable. And I'm okay with this. It sucks that it's limited. I said on our MTM Vegas show, I wish they would have given us a dollar amount, but this also cuts down the tips because those high check amounts were generating huge gratuities too for Hyatt to have to pay. So yeah, this had to happen. Some accountant somewhere got a very eye-opening report.
Yeah, I can't imagine what that bill was from the first month of Glow. Like probably more than any resort anywhere else, and the room rates were probably lower than anything else they deal with. So I do feel bad for the servers. They're definitely going to take a hit and not get as much. Especially when you're tipping. Hyatt's going to pick up the bill. You're putting 20% every time, and when you're having a $130 breakfast, that's kind of crazy for working the breakfast shift on tips that you're racking up at various tables. So sad to see for them, but at least there's still something there. And, it's still the greatest place to mattress run for sure.
Absolutely. I'm staying there right now. So loving Rio, love that they're part of Hyatt. And, this isn't, I don't know what else they could do at this point. $150 breakfast, $120 breakfast, not sustainable. But let us know, have you experienced the new Rio breakfast? Have you mattress run there? Let us know about that. The Citi Strata card, are you excited about these changes for that? Mark's Delta strategy, how he earned all those points. Leave a comment. Let us know what you guys think. We do a news show every week on Wednesdays and some bonus shows on the weekend. We should have a bonus show coming up this weekend. Still a new channel, so if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe, like this video, comment, share with a friend. Let them know 20 minutes a week, and we will teach them how to get free flights, hotels, save on your travel, achieve your travel dreams, all of that good stuff. Thanks so much for watching. Talk to you next time.
Have a good week, everybody. Enjoy the outtakes. I know you're a doggy.
Rough.
I know you're. I know.
We do 2 shows a week. No, we don't.
No. Put that in the outtakes.